Hey everyone, Joe here. I'm about to start up a live match against an opponent. Looks like he's from Italy, and I win the die roll. So let's see what my opening hand looks like. 3 lands, AEther Vial, 2 creatures, and a Spreading Seas. Looks fantastic. So let's get it started. First turn, I think I'll open with, well, AEther Vial, easy choice. So Minamo, School at Water's Edge into AEther Vial. I played a match against Jund yesterday where I had played Oboro, and with a single Master of Waves in hand, the opponent activated Liliana of the Veils +1, and instead of bouncing the Oboro to my hand, I discarded a Master of Waves. So a big punt. I need to start paying a little bit more attention to my legendary lands, because they can really come in handy sometimes. Okay, the opponent played a Scalding Tarn for the turn and passed. So I draw another AEther Vial here. Spreading Seas is obviously not going to be great here, so I think I'm going to go ahead and play out the Mutavault and a second AEther Vial. With the first AEther Vial on 1, able to put in this Cursecatcher. I could have actually cast the Cursecatcher here, potentially representing another Cursecatcher with this AEther Vial, making the opponent play a little bit weird. But I don't think those kinds of plays don't often make a big difference. I don't think one is strictly correct or not. So opponent gets a Steam Vents. Let's see what their follow-up is. Maybe a black land, or maybe they're just on straight blue-red. Okay, cracks the Scalding Tarn. They are already down to 18. Are we going to see some black mana or white mana? Jeskai. So I guess this might be Nahiri. Okay, he's going to cast Serum Visions. Should I counter this? So I'm going to let him resolve this. Hopefully I'll draw into an Island Walk Lord or something, and can get him onto the battlefield next turn with AEther Vial and start pushing some damage. So the opponent thinking about the top 2 cards of his library. He puts one of them to the bottom and leaves one there. I will go ahead and bring in the Cursecatcher. Okay, during my upkeep, both of the vials will go up. I'm going to draw a card for the turn. Harbinger of the Tides. Let's see, Nahiri pretty much just plays Snapcaster Mages as creatures, I think, so pretty much never want to bounce those guys, so Harbinger is going to come in sooner than later. Question now is whether I should attack with Mutavault or cast Spreading Seas, but with the opponent tapped out, it's going to be a good time to try to resolve Spreading Seas. Okay, it goes down to 17. Let's see. I'm going to bring this Harbinger of the Tides in soon, so I think I'm going to... Well, I'm going to wait on my land drop, first of all. Alright, so I'm going to cast Spreading Seas and try to take... I think I'm going to take the opponent off of white rather than red. No, I'll take him off red. Draw a card, and now I can play the Wanderwine Hub tapped, I guess. Yeah, got no reason to reveal anything. Alright, so he chose to put a red counter on this to represent that it's an island, I guess. Another fetch land is going to be able to get him that red mana back, but he'll just pass the turn. So on my end step, I think I'm going to bring this Harbinger in. Harbinger is an interesting creature here because if the opponent has removal, they're obviously going to want to... during my... Is this during end step? Or my upkeep? I'm going to let the opponent decide. Okay, so he's casting Path during my end step, which is just sort of a strict mistake there because I'm going to get to untap with more lands. Okay, so I get it. I untap with it. I'll go to my upkeep. So I got the opponent to use a Path to Exile on a 2/2 vanilla Merfolk. It's pretty decent. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me fix that up. Just going to add counters here. Go to my draw step. Another Mutavault, very nice. So I think in this situation I'm going to activate Mutavault, go to combat, maybe bring in the Reege. I'm going to have the Master to rebuild. Activate the Mutavault and attack. See if the opponent has anything to do before... Okay, so yeah, I'm going to bring in the Merrow Reejerey here. It might be Kira, so the opponent might have some response before it resolves. So let's try to go to damage here. See if the opponent is going to play some removal. Alright, so he's back on red mana. And is probably going to try to deal with this Merrow Reejerey. He has mana to pay for the Cursecatcher, so I'm going to let this resolve. I'm going to go and get more lands. Hopefully making my draw steps a little bit better. And so going to damage. The opponent took 3 from his lands and is going to take 3 more from the creatures. It's a pretty effective turn overall. We're going to have 2 Mutavaults next turn. And with a Master of Waves, those guys will potentially be 3/3s. Okay, no Supreme Verdict this turn on the Cursecatcher. So did play a Ghost Quarter though, potentially killing one of my Mutavaults. This AEther Vial is going to go up to 4. I'm going to draw a card. A very, very good card. So if these Mutavaults go up to 4 each, and this guy goes up to 2, it's still not lethal. Opponent with no more fetch lands here. Let's see. He doesn't have mana online for Cryptic. He could tap this land for blue and then use Ghost Quarter to destroy the Steam Vents and get an island, and then tap that for another blue, and then the Hallowed Fountain and the Sacred Foundry. So he could cast it if he really wanted to, but I could cast a Cursecatcher in response. So I think, let's see, I don't need to really overextend. I think I'm going to activate the Mutavaults, see if there's a Snapcaster Path. Let's see. Snapcaster Path. Could be pretty good against me because he could path an Island Walk Lord if I choose to play it, and then trade Snapcaster for one of my Mutavaults. And I really don't want to totally overextend, because if I empty my hand and the opponent follows up with Supreme Verdict, that's pretty terrible. Alright, so continues giving me lands. So let's activate the Mutavaults and go to combat and see what happens. Okay, so he's using Ghost Quarter. That's okay. I will go get an island. He's going to put Snapcaster in. And I assume, yeah, that's fine. Path, I assume. Okay, so, all right. So he's going to have access to Path here. Is he playing as if he had a Wrath in hand. If he needs another land, first of all, for that, since he got rid of his Ghost Quarter. Oh, I can counter this with Cursecatcher. So yeah, I'll bring in the Lord and see if he tries to path it, and then I'll counter it with Cursecatcher. Alright, so that works out okay. We won't have to overextend. The opponent's going to take 3 from the Mutavault. And I've got the Master of Waves in hand to keep pushing damage next turn. So that worked out okay. Three mana for Electrolyze. He's tapped out, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in Master of Waves. With Spreading Seas on the board, he's going to make 1, 2, 3. He's going to make 4 total. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's correct. And then this guy is going to die. So looks like we have lethal. You can just attack with everybody. Okay, so yeah, game 2, here we go. Didn't get to see Nahiri that game. Gonna unlock my sideboard and go with the usual tech. I'll bring in 6 counter spells. Echoing Truth pretty poor. He doesn't play many non-land permanents at all. Doesn't really play a lot of permanents. He plays Nahiri. Echoing Truth can't bounce an Emrakul. Harbinger can. It's a reason to potentially leave these guys in. Kira is going to be fantastic. Don't need these Dismembers. I don't need to kill Harbinger, and again, kind of dead against the other big creature that they play. Aether Vials all stay. Cursecatchers will all stay. Spreading Seas can come out. And Relics can come in. And then I think I take out 1 Harbinger, since he doesn't play a lot of creatures. I think this is pretty much my typical plan against Jeskai, is to take out these 8 cards for Spreading Seas, since we already have Island Walk, 3 things that interact mostly with creatures, and a creature that bounces creatures, bringing in 6 counterspells and 2 things that deal with his graveyard. So this is one of those hands where it's important to think about it in terms of what if it were a mulligan to 6. If I get rid of this island here and drew these 6 cards as my mulligan to 6, it would be an easy keep. The Aether Vial is going to be great against their counter magic. Silvergill is going to draw me a card. I think I'll keep here. It's pretty poor. Okay, I'm going to keep on just on the strength of Aether Vial, and partially because of Silvergill Adept, and based on the fact that the opponent doesn't play any hand disruption. If this was against Jund or something like that, it would have been a mulligan, though I wouldn't have my Aether Vials in anyway at this point. Another Silvergill is a very nice start. I'll open with Minamo into Aether Vial. Unless the opponent has Spell Pierce in hand. These decks don't really play Spell Pierce. They play Spell Snare. And then they play the Mana Leak and Cryptic Command and sometimes Remand. Opponent fetches a Sacred Foundry, going down to 19 off the fetch land. So passing with no blue mana up, I'm just going to go ahead and try to, going to go ahead and resolve one of these Silvergills. All right, so the hand is getting better and better. I feel pretty good about this keep now. Play a Silvergill Adept, reveal a Silvergill Adept. If he wants to bolt this guy, that's fine. I just got bolt out of the opponent's hand, and that was a very good draw off the Silvergill Adept. Okay, he's going to leave the Silvergill Adept alone. Aether Vial is going to go up to 2 next turn. I can put this guy in for free. Okay. Opponent continuing to play tapped shock lands, keeping his life total high. Passes the turn. Alright, so for my turn, I'll go ahead, put the Aether Vial up to 2, draw, and it's a Mutavault, which is great because it dodges all of the Supreme Verdicts, Wrath of Gods, Anger of the Gods, all of those sorcery speed effects. So here, the opponent doesn't have 3 mana for Electrolyze. It can be a blowout, playing 2 Electrolyzes. I think what I'm going to do here is, let's see. Don't really want to overextend. I think just playing the Mutavault. Let's see what we draw off of the Silvergill Adept, but I'll go to attacks first. Okay, he goes for Bolt. No problem. As I said, the Silvergill already drew me a card, so I know my land drop for the turn is going to be Mutavault. So the question is whether I should play Silvergill now or later, and if the opponent has another Bolt and they want to use it, I can make their mana a little bit less efficient by waiting until their turn to activate Aether Vial. But do we want to play a Reejerey here? I think we do. If they want to use a board wipe to get rid of one of my creatures, that's fine. I'm not overextending at this point. Alright, so Path is going to ramp me, which I can appreciate. Hopefully this second Silvergill will continue drawing me into great cards. Alright, so for the opponent's turn, they draw. Let's keep their graveyard open. A Bolt and a Path. And a Ghost Quarter. So I'm going to end the turn with a Silvergill, hitting a Cursecatcher. Any creature is better than a land at this point. Just to play around counterspells, I think I'm going to tick Aether Vial up, especially since I have a Reejerey in hand. Draw another land. I can't really complain because I've been drawing very well so far. The opponent doesn't have 3 mana, but as I mentioned in the last game, they have a line with Ghost Quarter where they can tap blue and then go get more blue. Seems extremely aggressive to try to resolve a Cryptic Command. So the question is how to balance this. I'm not going to draw any cards this turn, so I can go ahead and play out my land. I think I'm going to, let's see. I think I'll play out the Cursecatcher now. Now, Snapcaster into Bolt or something like that would be pretty strong if I tried to attack with the Mutavault. Potentially I should just save that for when I have the Master of Waves on the battlefield. I think that I'll play Cursecatcher here and just attack with the Silvergill Adept. Let's see what the opponent wants to do. Actually, the opponent has Ghost Quarter for Mutavault if they want to go that way. So many lands. That's what happens when you keep an opening hand with 4 lands. Alright, the opponent plays an island here. So now they have access to Cryptic Command mana on the board. They won't need any weird Ghost Quarter stuff. So there's Nahiri. She can destroy my Silvergill if she wants, but I imagine she's going to be ticking up. But this is fine because I'm going to have Reejerey next turn. I can attack her down. Alright, she's going down to 4. Oh, she's starting at 4, sorry. And then where's she going to go from here? The opponent sort of wisely leaving Ghost Quarter up, I guess, for Mutavault. He's thinking quite a lot about it. Nahiri can exile a target enchantment. It doesn't have to be tapped or anything. But then a tapped artifact or a tapped creature. It's important to note that her ability, that particular ability, is unable to target Master of Waves since she's a red planeswalker. The opponent with 3 cards in hand. It's possible that we don't care about Nahiri. She's going to go down and get rid of Silvergill Adept. Okay, so I'm going to put the Reejerey into play here. And then take AEther Vial up to 4 for the Master of Waves. So anything other than land. That's a pretty good draw. So Nahiri, not very relevant here. I can hit her with either of my creatures. He's got Ghost Quarter up from Mutavault, and I think I'm going to attack into that regardless. If I play out the Island Walk Lord here and the Violin, the Master of Waves, I'm going to leave that for my opponent's end step, though. So I don't really have to play out this guy yet. And I don't want to walk into a board wipe. So I think I'll just stay on the same plan. Okay, the opponent just getting rid of that right now. So Cursecatcher is going to go at Nahiri and the Reejerey at him. Okay, I didn't play a land that turn, I don't think. Nope, so I'll go ahead and put out my millionth island onto the battlefield. So the opponent's still with access to Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile. Okay, tapping out for another Nahiri here. If they choose to minus again, I'm going to put Master of Waves onto the battlefield, making 3 tokens. What is the sequencing here? Alright, so he's exiling this guy. Actually, the Silvergill should be exiled as well. Forgot about that. Alright. So these Nahiri is getting picked off pretty easily. Another island, not that amazing. I think I'm going to send 1 elemental at Nahiri and so he's going to take 7 here, going down to 8. Okay, for my second main phase, I'll play my 2 millionth island and go ahead and pass the turn. If I had played the Master, I would have pushed only 2 more damage that turn. Serum Visions is fine. I do have 6 counter spells left in the deck. The opponent has been really good about checking before resolving his spells. Okay, looking at the library, he's leaving, it looks like he just rearranged the ones on the top. He's playing a tapped Steam Vents and passing. Doesn't have mana to activate Celestial Colonnade. He does have Cryptic mana, but I have Cursecatcher available. Only 2 cards in hand. Very real possibility that they're relatively pointless. I can easily play around Mana Leak. Let's see, Snapcaster into Bolt or Path. Probably Path on my Master of Waves will resolve because the opponent will have an untapped mana. So if I play the Master here, and he chooses to Snapcaster And then he could target the Master of Waves with the Path to Exile, in which case he's still going to take 2 here and 2 off the Cursecatcher with Island Walk. Snapcaster Path on Master Waves is a really strong line. I think in this situation here, let's see, if I play the Master of the Pearl Trident, I can potentially attack for the win if he has nothing. I don't want to attack here in this spot into Master of Waves. If he plays Cryptic Command and I sacrifice Cursecatcher, I still have 8 for lethal. So yeah, I'll try this way. The opponent didn't play... Okay, he's spell snaring it. So still has access to Snapcaster with removal spell, but now he doesn't have mana to pay for... now he doesn't have mana to pay for the Cursecatcher tax if he Snapcaster into removal. So I think here I'm going to lean with... Oh, what is he doing? Okay, so that's the last card in his hand. The timing for my opponent is a little bit strange, but I guess in the end it doesn't make a big difference. I'm going to get a land while that resolves. Wait, do I have all my islands? I think this is the first time this has ever happened since I've started playing this deck. That's incredible. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 7 islands. All right, well, very cool, very, very funny. I'll play another island and end the turn. All right, so Serum Visions is going to resolve. How did I get to this spot? At least we know... Well, we don't know at this point anymore since he has a card in his hand. I was going to say at least we know he doesn't have that Snapcaster line. Still doesn't have mana to activate Celestial Colonnade and block. Master of Waves is a good draw. It's going to attack here. Alright, the opponent goes down. I'll play a tapped Wanderwine Hub and end the turn. Master of Waves is going to bring 2 tokens, and I'll have access to lethal. If he wastes a bolt or something here on Cursecatcher, I will respond by bringing in Master of Waves. So far, with my limited exposure to the deck, it seems like this Jeskai Nahiri deck is not exceptionally strong against Merfolk. And obviously we have Island Walk, with them playing lots and lots of islands. So that always helps. Oh, he's just stuck a little bit here on his connection. So as I was saying, we naturally have Island Walk against them. Most of us play 1 or 2 Kiras at this point in the main deck, and that card is always exceptional against Jeskai. Master of Waves with protection against red makes him not susceptible to Lightning Bolt or Nahiri or Lightning Helix. These decks pretty much always play Lightning Helix as well as Bolt. So the way Cockatrice works with these timeouts is usually it takes a little while to actually get to the point where it tells you that they've lost connection, and then within a few seconds the opponent usually jumps back in it. So I'm just sticking with it for a couple minutes. This has been a good match so far, and I hope the opponent is able to reconnect. While we're waiting, why don't we just take a look at Nahiri. So usually what opponents do when they play Nahiri, especially if they have a blocker like a Snapcaster up to Protector, they're going to want to use the +2. To loot, they have to... sorry, it's not looting, it's rummaging. They have to discard a card first, and then they get to draw a card. I'll go up to 6, and then the next turn, they'll do that again, going up to 8. Making it so that the third turn that they have Nahiri in play, they can ultimate her, search their library for Emrakul. He has haste, and he can attack and pretty much destroy the opponent's board. In this case, I have all these islands that I'm happy just to go ahead and destroy. Looks like this guy might have timed out for good, which is a bummer because I would love to finish this game. While we're waiting, we can go ahead and just scry the top card of our library, since it looks like he's done. A Cavern of Souls, that would have been good earlier in the game. That Spell Snare wouldn't have been able to hit my Lord. Alright, I'm going to wait 10 more seconds. Alright, so it looks like the opponent has just totally timed out, and that's going to be the end of the match. With us top decking, I feel like I was in a really good spot here anyway. I can possibly check the replay and see what he had in his hand to see if he was going to be able to interact with this Master of Waves. Again, the Master of Waves is going to bring 2 tokens, so after I bring him in, I'm going to have 7 power on board with the opponent at 6. I'll be presenting lethal on my next turn. Let's see what was going to come after that Cavern of Souls. Well, there's an Island Walk Lord, so we're looking pretty good with this uncounterable Master of the Pearl Trident. So I feel like I was pretty close to winning that match. So unfortunate that the guy had to time out, but a good match anyway. Get a little bit more experience against this this popular new deck running Nahiri. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, leave comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you. Bye.